gave them to you last Friday.
Yeah.
Ready? All right. I entertain a motion for approval of the minutes.
Make a motion.
Did anybody make a motion?
Leroy.
Leroy made.
I'll say.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to approve the minutes as presented. All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Moving along, I think next we have Tommy, you're going to discuss the KSBA portal.
Yes, remember we had Kim Barker Burton before us a couple of months ago talking about the meeting portal that's offered by the Kentucky School Boards Association. And it had been agreed upon that we would proceed with this, and there is an agreement in your materials there. This agreement calls for a one-time setup fee of $3,000, which the agreement will begin on July the 1st, 2023. And an annual update maintenance fee of $1,000 for each fiscal year thereafter, which will begin on July the 1st, 2024. So after you had an opportunity to review this, we just need to go ahead and get this executed so we can get the ball rolling and start getting this put together for hopefully in July we can start with it. One other thing, I know that we have iPads that's been issued to each one of you. If you could bring those into the office sometime and let us make sure that they're up to date and functioning properly, and then we'll get them right back to you. But we need to do that with, before the next meeting if possible. And we'll try to be ready. There's obviously going to be a little bit of training to go along with this, and I'll be touching base with Kim on that. Perhaps sometime in the middle part of June we can try to arrange that.
And just as going back to that, as we're doing stuff, we can put that in to the portal.
Yeah, we can put things
in the
into
matches,
the
everybody
portal,
can see this as we're doing
and they
it.
will have access to the material.
And so we don't have to wait
And the material stays out on the portal, so if they want to look back a month or whatever, they can look back at the material and we can back up and put material in. If we want to back up and put a whole fiscal year in or something, we can do that too, just to populate the portal. But the idea is to have this to be paperless as possible.
and get this out in a timely
And
manner.
get this out, we try to have this out to you 48 hours in advance is what our goal is.
Yeah.
So you have an opportunity to look at everything before you come here.
But with this portal, we can start putting in a piece at a time as we get done. As it goes in, they can see it.
I mean, we're printing several reams of paper at each meeting. And we did manage to get a packet mailed out this time, although Leroy didn't get his. But I think this will be an excellent way, going forward to provide you with up-to-date information and historical information.
So you need a motion to.
The motion.
I'll make a motion that we accept KSBA meeting subscriber agreement and move forward.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to accept the KSBA agreement and move forward with it. Is there any other questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Before we go on, I'd like to point out that Master Donnie Keaton is not here tonight. He's having some issues. He's over in Ashland, in Linda, I believe, in the hospital over there.
Were they going to do some testing?
They're getting ready to do some testing that goes back to the issues he was having before. So please keep Donnie in your prayers and be thinking about him and his wife and family. All right. Now you can go ahead and move on. Raymond Van Cleve resignation and retirement. We received, I think in your package you have Raymond's resignation. and has chosen to retire. And we just need to ratify his letter of resignation.
I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly second to accept Raymond's resignation. Is there any questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Next thing is an acknowledgement or appointment of the coroner, the new coroner, acting coroner, by executive order myself, of Casey Helton. And just an acknowledgement that I did that. That's acting to get us through till November. We had to move on that pretty fast so we could get the ballot open. Me and Randy was discussing that, and to get that ballot open, we had to appoint somebody. Casey, we'd already put him on as deputy. You saw his qualifications. You heard him last time we met. He's been deputy coroner. He's been a deputy reserve sheriff. He's an EMT. He's got the qualifications to hold the fort down until we can get a new one elected in November. So all we need is what? Just anything? Just an acknowledgement? What's an acknowledgement?
Just an answer.
Yeah, so everybody acknowledge that? All right, it's been acknowledged. Moving along, Tommy, you're back on with budget amendment number 8.
Budget amendment number 8, that was received back from Department of Local Government. They approved it on the 8th day of May. This budget amendment recognized a total of $137,927.83 in the general, jail fund, and the clerk dock fee account. This is, again, the second reading of fiscal year 23, budget amendment number 8.
Do we have that, Tommy?
Was it in your packet?
I don't have.
I've got 10 and 18.
Yeah, 10 and 18 is what I've got.
I can pass it around if you want to look at it. See if I have another copy of it somewhere.
Yeah.
This one?
Number 8, yeah. So if everybody's good with this, need to vote on that.
Yeah. I'll give them a chance to look at it. All right, if everybody's had a chance to look at it, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve budget amendments 8.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor, properly second to approve budget amendment 8. Any questions or discussion? There being none, all in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
You have, I think you did say you had number 10.
Yeah.
Budget amendment number 10 for a total of $655,033.45. And I'll just mention some of the highlights in this. In the general fund, $265,740.19 of occupational license tax. In the LGEA fund, $65,098.34 of cold severance. In the Morgan County Public Properties, which is the closeout of the real properties account, $286,529.97 was the remainder of what wasn't already on our books. We had put some of the real properties accounts on our books when we first came into office. The first reading, no action is necessary. And we will send this off to the Office of Local Government for their approval. If there's any questions about any of the other line items, I'll be glad to field them. I might say that we probably will have another budget amendment, perhaps before the end of the fiscal year. Just proper budget management this time of year, you have accounts that end up with money in them that maybe you didn't anticipate, so we're trying to stay on top of this as we go forward.
So I'll entertain a motion on the budget amendment number 10.
I'll make a motion, accept the first reading budget number 10.
Do we have to vote on that, where it's a first reading?
You don't have to vote.
No, all right, I thought you had action, I'm sorry.
No, you
All
don't
right.
have to vote on it.
Withdraw that motion.
Withdraw that motion.
I'm sorry, I was gonna have to call that out. Yeah, first reading, no action required. You're still on deck, Tommy, you're still going.
Okay. You have material of a memo that I sent you concerning the 2023-24 budget that was approved by Department of Local Government on May the 15th, I believe. In that memo, I explained that they made one suggestion in the county judge executive salary. We had it at the current level, and they suggested that we wanted to probably kick that up to $100,000 because there will be a raise coming during the fiscal year. The only other change that was necessary to fix that was to decrease the unappropriated surplus, and I had to raise the retirement fringe a little bit. The Social Security fringe had enough in it to cover it. So it was just very minor changes. This was advertised in the paper. Summary of this budget was advertised in the paper, and you had a copy of the budget that we'd given to you at the previous meeting. So if there's any questions or comments, I'll be glad to try to answer those for you. And this will be considered a second reading of the fiscal year 2023-2024 proposed budget, totaling $9,587,519. If anybody, if you happen not to have a copy of it with you, I've got a couple of copies here. You can look at it if you like. I will need them back because we have to keep them for signatures.
Yeah.
Yes, we need
Second
a
reading.
vote.
Yeah.
Entertain a motion on that?
Yeah.
Motion to approve the,
But you guys are still looking, Tommy's still looking over it.
23-24 budget.
I'll make a motion. We accept the second reading of the budget ordinance for 23-24.
I'll second it.
We have a motion on the floor, been properly seconded to accept the second reading of the 2023 budget ordinance. Is there any questions or discussion on the budget for 23-24? Questions or discussion?
Who seconded that?
Brandon.
Thank you.
Questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
You have in your material the current financial statement, which still, of course, shows the encumbrances of a total of $1,685,000, which we know that almost $1.5 million of that is the unpaid arrears bills. We, of course, will see those being paid after the 1st of July in the new budget. But they're, of course, still on our books for now. We must report those to DLG at the end of the quarter. In this material is a revenue condition report, as well as a appropriation condition report. Now you will note that if you look at the revenue condition report, you'll see several line items with brackets around them, in other words, negative numbers. That's what that budget amendment is about. Once that budget amendment comes back and is adopted, then it will close those line items out to make them either zero or a positive amount.
No action needed on this?
No action, this is just
Just
information. Well, I could vote to accept it if they want, that's whatever they want to do. Just to keep them up to date.
Make a motion to accept, or are you good? Good? All right. Everybody's good. Let's move along then to the audit finance worksheet.
Well, I got a budget transfer.
I mean, budget transfer, I'm sorry. Action needed on this.
I have, I think you have this sheet as well. This is some appropriation transfers. This is transfer number 18 for fiscal year 22-23, totaling $205,931.83. These are line items in the general road and jail fund that need attention. We're transferring money in each fund from the reserve for transfer for that respective fund. And so these line items would show negative, or do show negative, with their encumbrances with unpaid bills and that sort of thing. There's two exceptions in here, which are unpaid bills that you'll notice in the general fund. There's the Wellness Center parking lot asphalt and paving. Those two line items have been negative ever since we put them on the books in February. And frankly, we hadn't really had enough appropriation to cover them until now. And so we're covering those line items just to clean the budget up so they don't show negative amounts, because they are encumbered, although they will not be paid until the next fiscal year. So if there are any questions about any of these, feel free to ask. Otherwise, we'll need a motion to approve.
Entertain a motion on the budget transfer.
I'll make a motion, we accept the budget transfer, budget number 18.
I'll second.
Motion on the floor has been properly seconded to accept the budget transfer number 18. Any questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? Questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
You have, in your packet, this report here, this is the audit findings worksheet that I've been bringing to each monthly meeting that explains what we've been doing to try to clear up these audit findings that were in the last, well, in several audits, actually, some of them were. I've added a column, second column there says history of finding, and it shows that in some of these cases, these findings have been on the books for 4 fiscal years. But we're trying our level best to see that these things are taken care of. I will also add that we've received the communication this week from
KYEM.
Kentucky Emergency Management folks. Quite frankly, I was kind of glad to see this from a Kentucky state agency, but it's actually coming from one that we didn't expect it from. But they actually are asking questions of what we're doing to fix the audit findings, and this was from fiscal year ended 2020 and 2021. These are that much delinquent. Nobody had answered them. I provided the lady this information right here, and it seemed to satisfy her. I wish that DLG would do something like this, but they don't.
And we had,
They should, but they don't.
yeah, I got home the other night and found that email, and she emailed it in the evening. We have 6 days to reply to that. We got to reply to May 30th. If we don't reply, they cut off federal funding.
So we mailed the letters. I actually had 2 phone conversations with her,
Yeah.
and we mailed the material out yesterday. So we don't need any action. This is for your information. You know, is what we're trying to do to fix these issues.
Yeah, I'm glad they emailed us and gave us 6 days to work it instead of cutting our any federal funding off, especially our emergency management funding and stuff like that. All right, moving along. Linda, I believe you're up next. Take your secretary hat off, put your HR hat on.
This is the employee insurance annual renewal, and this year we only had an increase of 0.83%, lowest increase in the state. So the dental insurance, it went up a few cents, but not that much either. So you just need to vote to accept it, I guess. Look over. I gave everybody a copy of it so you can look over all of it.
We will need action on this.
Yeah, just to accept the renewal.
I'll make a motion to accept the health insurance renewal.
All right, got a second?
I'll second.
Oh, we already seconded it?
Okay.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. It's been properly seconded to accept the health insurance 23-24 renewal. Any questions on the renewal? Questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Back to you, Tommy, on the health website
I
discussion.
emailed each of you a communication yesterday concerning the website discussion. You know, we're probably one of the few counties in the state of Kentucky that don't have a website. And it's not just for the sake of having one, it's a valuable tool that can be used to, you know, to provide information to the public for their right to know and the transparency that goes along with it. But our software provider, Fiscal, they provide this service to their customers who have other things with them, which we do. And I sent a link. I don't know if you had an opportunity to look at any of them or not, but these are not complicated websites. They're not e-commerce type things. They're just strictly information type. You can have whatever you want out there, copies of budgets, financial statements. Typically, you'll see bios of the fiscal court members and all the officers and that sort of thing. So whatever we want to do, however we want to set it up. The cost is $350 a month. They take care of all the hosting, the design and all that sort of thing. They also, anything that we want to add to the website, we send it to them and they post it for us.
One important thing is our census data for economic development. When I was doing economic development, and I used to go to the meetings in Kentucky for the Kentucky Economic Development Association, I talked to this one company out of Dallas, Texas, and they're big on, they find places to set companies in. If you don't have a website with that data on it, they won't even consider you. So that's the first step we need to initiate the other things that will come later. County tourism, economic development, anything else that we decide to do that's going to bring jobs in here, we have to have that, and we can link all those together, and that's the way forward. But first, we got to have this website with basic data on it.
And they tell us that they could have this up and running within 2 weeks of getting the domain registered, which is not they take care of that too, so we don't have to worry with that.
So no fees, just $350 a month?
$350 a
No
month.
setup.
And we have been discussing this, Judge and I have been discussing this. We can pay for this out of this tribal consistency money. That's one of the things that infrastructure, technology infrastructure is one of the things that they talk about in some detail in their guidance. I mean, it's pretty much anything but lobbying the money can be spent for. And so we can use that money to pay for this if that's what we want to do.
And other technology we can, so I like to do some other upgrades in here too.
Yeah, we're
Sound
looking
system,
at one other thing that we'll bring along later, but that can be used for that.
That sounds good.
And other things on that, we also got a grant from state tourism to start county tourism. And what we're gonna do with that is to create a strategic plan, and then a tourism website for the county, which they're gonna come in and go out around the county, take pictures, the waterfalls, 7-Eleven, Broke Lake Falls, whatever, and put that on there so we can start looking to attract more tourism in. And the other things that we come up with is if we decide to do this trails thing, that's something we can put on there. So there's a lot of way we can go. We can advertise our parks and recreation and put that on there.
Yeah, you can link any
Anything
website
to it.
to it, within this envelope.
If you need, I got a nice expensive drone you can use to maybe help that website out. I noticed a lot of places do that. They do the real high view of the town.
Yeah, it looks great
or
when you do that.
different things or whatever.
So you're gonna help us out?
Yeah, I'll help you out.
All right.
Drones are a big thing now.
We need
Well, I thought it was pretty cool. I actually, when I was doing my drone, I was doing it around Cave Run Lake, probably about a few months ago or whatever. It's about 6 months ago, it was last summer. And I'm flying along there looking at the lake or whatever, and a bald eagle comes alongside the drone, and I got about 10 or 15 seconds of a bald eagle flying along with the drone. It's amazing.
Yeah, the sheriff,
We could, is that something we could integrate with the sheriff?
could you come up and use the phone so we can get this into the, I know you hate this, but so the people at home could hear you too.
Okay. I was just curious, is that something we can integrate the sheriff's office into as well?
Yes.
Yes,
we're gonna
absolutely.
integrate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we're gonna integrate all the departments into it.
All the county officials can be integrated into it.
Because we wanted to do that, we just couldn't afford to do it.
No,
We can
you'll
actually,
be in that too.
through
That's
our
all.
software and things, we might even be able to, if we can integrate with you all, maybe be able to fix it where people can pay online, pay the taxes.
But now this don't have e-commerce capability.
No e-commerce
But I
capability.
mean, as far as information's concerned,
About how to pay and that kind of.
yeah, I mean, you
Yeah.
can put all that sort of thing out there, no problem.
We can have a sheriff, we have a page that goes to the sheriff's page, and you have all
Yeah,
your
when-
information and all that on
When
it.
you get into e-commerce sites, Sheriff, they cost tens of thousands of
Well,
dollars.
no, we've not been able to afford one, but.
Yeah.
But now, there may be something on our software though that, well, we might be able to.
We'll talk about it, but,
But any communication,
yeah, but right now, we can give you your own page, and you can put it on there.
Sweet. Okay, great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
What about fire departments, rescue squad, ambulance service?
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can link anything you wanna
We
link.
link
If they've
it all
got,
in
if
there,
they got
put all
their
that in there.
websites, you can have a section to link to emergency services or, I mean, it's pretty much, we fix it the way we want it to be.
Yeah, we'll put all the county stuff, information we got, the more we have, including that, because that's infrastructure that these folks that's looking for places need too.
Well, this is a good place to say this. A couple nights ago, we had a medical emergency there on War Creek, and it was actually a family member, and it was after 10 o'clock, wasn't it? After 10 o'clock, and by the time everyone showed up, Dad, the last count Dad got, there was 11 emergency vehicles there. There was White Oak Fire Chief, West Liberty Fire Chief, ambulance service, 2 sheriff's deputies. We really appreciate that. So huge
covered.
turnout
Yeah.
at 10, after 10 o'clock, and they were there fast.
That's
And,
good.
Yeah, we really appreciate them. I mean,
Now, they did a good job out there on that 460 incident with the craters, 460 West that happened out there with they got T-boned on their side by side.
I heard about that.
Yeah, they had to airlift people out, bust them out and everything. That was huge. That was a bad day because at the same time we had that, a home invasion, and a 3-year-old missing all at the same time. And all our folks responded very well.
A lot of people just don't understand that most of these was personal vehicles. They,
Oh,
the
yeah.
county doesn't pay for their gas, the county,
They do this on their own.
Yeah,
Those
it's-
people, those men and women are dedicated.
it is greatly
They're committed to the
appreciated.
county. So,
So that's what we want to do. We need a
that was
need a
just
motion on
discussion.
this?
I'll make you need a motion to approve something. Go ahead and get
Yeah, so we go ahead and get
I should
started.
have action needed.
I'll make a motion.
And we'll,
Yeah, I'll second it.
All right,
as we get started with this, we'll be asking you all for information.
Yeah.
If you look at some of these websites, there's bios on most of the county officials, a short bio and a picture. That sort of thing,
well, we'll link Miles's, Price is Right video to it. So,
It is true.
Well, I got shorts and Red Wings on, a shirt that said Country Boy needing a new toy. I don't know a professional to be, but I'm all for it.
And man, who knows, somebody might come in here and get that and come visit us to see you, man. You're a local celebrity now.
Yeah.
We'll get the process started and report back to you.
Yeah, I found out the other day you actually got a kiss from one of the Barker's beauties too.
It's on camera.
It's on
I can
camera?
prove it in court. Just saying that.
I don't know, I haven't seen it, so I'll have to, you'll have to show me that. All right, going right along.
We need to vote on that, don't we?
Oh, yeah, that's right, sorry.
Got
I'm
a
ready to
motion
move.
in a second.
Yeah, all right, we have a motion, it's been properly second to move ahead with the Morgan County website. Any more questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. I think y'all excited about the prices, right? I forgot about the motion. Okay, moving along. Here we go, splash pad and swimming pool. Let me give you a report on this. I'm gonna start with the splash pad first. And we'll deal with that and then we'll get to the other stuff. One of the things I found out, I saw it in the paper a couple of years ago, I think, about a splash pad and an amphitheater up at the Wellness Center. Talking to Gateway, and I was on the phone with them again today, that turns out that is a $500,000 project of which the county is responsible for $250,000. In the situation we're in right now, I just don't know where we're gonna get that. I went back to them and said, can we do a change of scope? We already have an amphitheater in town. I don't see the need for another one. And I think where the current, me and Tommy went up there the other day and looked at the soccer fields, and I do not want to put that splash pad in the middle of the soccer fields being used for the kids. There is a place over to If you're standing on the road and looking over at the first field where it slopes downhill and they don't use it, yeah, as long as it doesn't disturb the geothermal wells, I think we can put the splash pad over there. But I still don't know what that's gonna cost us. I'm asking for a change of scope. They sent me the paperwork today. So what I'd like to do is change that scope and then come back and see how much it's gonna cost us then. And we can also probably move this along to another year before we have to get into this. And I'd like to do that too. I don't think we're ready to commit that kind of money to this right now. If unless you guys got a better idea on that, I think right now the best thing we can do is move it to next year, do the change of scope, see what comes back and what happens with that splash park. I think it'd be a great thing to have up there, but just with the money right now as it is, I don't see where we could do that. And it's a recreational thing, it's not a wellness, so I can't use other funds for it. I have to use, it's gotta come out of our funds, physical court, and we're just not set up for that right now.
So they're gonna look into changing the scope of work on it?
Yes, I got the paperwork, we're gonna fill that paperwork out next week and send that in, and see what we can do to take this is up to DLG, if they'll take that out. Now, we can withdraw. I asked that question. But if we withdraw from this, then we're gonna be penalized in other grants that we pursue.
We're gonna be put on the bottom of the pile.
You said it right, brother.
So, could we back this up with another grant? Say the grant, say 150,000, and we're 75,000 in. We were at a conference, and they were talking about a grant. I think I did take a picture of the screen, but it was a long term, it took like a year to get it approved. It was for
Right now, the way this
recreation. I don't
grant,
remember what it was,
this grant has been accepted. We had a resolution from last year, the court at that time accepted it. And we did the resolution, so we're kinda committed to this. They'll let us change it, but they won't.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of position where we're at on that. And I'm not asking for a motion or anything tonight. This is what I'd like to,
Do we know how big a splash pad, what all it consists of, or just?
See, the RFQ process is gonna have to be started over too.
Yeah, pew process
All
will have to be
that
started
stuff
over.
has not been done.
None of see, the only thing they've done the environmental part, and we have to keep it, and I didn't bring
I mean, there's not been any,
This-
there's no
this
drawings
is-
or nothing.
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 No, there's nothing. And they was an architectural firm, R2 Architects out of New Jersey that was selected to do this. And so I talked to them yesterday and again today. Then one of the partners of the firm called me, and he says there's no contract with them, nothing binding us to it, and they said they will not invoice us for the work they've already done. Because I explained to them the situation we're in, and they said, no, we understand, and we're not gonna turn this into anything, and we haven't the contract we need to start out with. All that, the ball was dropped on all that. So it was never pursued by the judge's office, so. But right now, what the design of this, if this is the wellness center here, the splash pad, you can see it's right there in the middle of the first soccer field. Over here's the amphitheater. So as I suggested, what I think the way we should proceed is to take this out and move this over here. And get it out of the way of the soccer field. We don't want to interfere with those. The soccer folks put too much work into that field up there for us to go in there and their own blood, sweat, and tears too, their own money. Tens of thousands of dollars they raised and put into that.
Does it have to be up there on that property?
Yes, it does, because that's where the project is. See
That's
that
what
dotted line?
environmental's
That's the
already
first
done.
thing I asked, can I move it? No. Yeah, I can move it, but I can only move it within this box.
Yeah,
And-
It worked out real good if it had been at the park down here.
Yeah, I know. That would have been great. That's where I would put it.
So we don't have no designs?
We don't have nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing. Nobody's done nothing. The ball was dropped completely. It's out there. We're still committed to it. We did the resolution on it. We can withdraw from it, but like Eric says, that's gonna take us and put us on the bottom of the next grant pile. So, the only thing I think we do is go ahead and do the change of scope of work, and then move it over there, and then wait next year, and then see what that's gonna come back and what that's gonna cost us.
You have to go through a process of what's called an RFQ, which is a request for qualification. You gotta go through that process to get firms, you know, to say, yeah, we'd like to work with you. You have to review that. And then you gotta go with a proposal, request for proposal then.
Yeah, the
To actually
resolution,
design
Yeah.
the project. None of that's been done.
So it could possibly cost a lot more than
It
that.
probably will cost a lot more because this was 3 years ago.
Yeah,
yeah, and here's the resolution done on, the 30th of April in 2020. And right that fourth line down, whereas the land and water, this is a land and water conservation grant, is limited to funding a maximum of 50% up to 250,000. They're telling up to two now. And guess what? Now, you remember the 50% up to that? Well, guess what? It went all the way up to 250,000. Anytime they put up to, it's going to go up to. But that's where we're at on that, and I'm just gonna go ahead and proceed. If you guys, no need a motion, but if you're in agreement with me, we'll go ahead and do the change of scope and see where it goes from there and move it out, and see what happens with that. And this is the project, regulations, LCFW and all that. Anybody else got any other thoughts or discussion they'd like to say about it? I mean, to me, that's pretty much in a nutshell. There ain't no way we're gonna come up with $250,000 in this fiscal year, and it's gonna be tough next year.
especially not even knowing what we're gonna get.
Yeah, especially. What did we figure out what did I say the dimensions were, 100?
Around 125 or something like that.
Yeah, 125 by 102
That's,
feet.
Country folk know that's like a
It's a long way.
tobacco bed long and tobacco bed
Or a
wide.
basketball court.
It's not that big an area
Yeah,
when you consider
and by the time you put
all the stuff you put in it and all the kids getting in there playing, there's not gonna be much room.
Nah, I admit it would be
mean,
nice to have that going up.
it'd be nice.
Put a sidewalk going up from the Wellness Center right up to it, and have it out there, and be there when kids, families are over, they bring their kids and they go over and play in it. I mean, I like the ideal. I don't like the location or the cost right now. It's kind of prohibitive to us right now. But without getting ourselves put on the bottom of the pile now, I think we'll just go ahead and do that and move it down the road and go in that direction and see what we can work out and make it a little bit more feasible to cost. Maybe we can find another more money by that time to go ahead and pay for that. Maybe it's still 250, maybe it's 100,000. Once you get that amphitheater, that's probably gonna cost a pretty penny in itself. So, you guys in agreement with me moving forward with the change of scope?
I am.
All right.
You want a motion on that so we can get it on record?
Yeah, that'd be nice.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, and properly second to change the scope of work on the Splash Park project. And any more questions or discussion? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries.
One question,
Yeah.
so I understand. So the amphitheater, they're gonna go back and look and see if they can take that off?
Take that
So
off.
it's not in writing yet that they're gonna do that, or?
No, what they're gonna do, if we put that scope in, we did talk, Gateway Ad talked to, can't remember her name, Jennifer at DLG, and she said we can do the scope of work, but there's just a process that you guys, it's a ton of paperwork.
It's a land and water grant.
Yeah, so we gotta go back in there and do that.
So does this have some federal money in it too? I was told at one time that
It's-
State.
I don't know if that's federal money or not. It could very well be.
It could very well be, you know, sometimes there's always federal money in there somewhere.
yeah.
But if we can do that, so I'll proceed with that and we'll go from there and see what happens. Let me get the rest of my stuff here. All right, next topic. The swimming pool. Been doing some research on this. First off, I'm not intending to close the pool now. I would not make that decision unless coming here first. But I want you to hear what's going on with this. And then we can make a decision from there as a fiscal court. First off, we had Patco go down there. Their initial quote that came back, they said verbally was $50,000. What he's saying, we called him back and talked to him, And he gave us another quote, but he said he can't give us the rest of it because he has to fix the pumps first. He says the pump and the cost of doing that is $11,533.93. He says, but that's not gonna fix the pool. That will allow him to turn the pump on, and once he gets it fixed, and then see all the other issues. And then I'm pretty sure, I've worked down there in that pool with Danny. Danny's been down there his life. I've worked it for 10 years. And I know all the issues down there. And I can tell you right now, that pump might last a little while, but it's not gonna go past that. We really need to fix those other issues in there. But to get that all done, especially before we got groundwater coming in down there, that becomes a health issue. I mean, we've been pumping chemicals into that thing. They come up there, I've been down there, we get it pumped and they come and test it just right after we pump it. If they come and test it another time, who knows? But there's a lot of water, it takes like 120, they told me today, Danny estimated 100,000 gallons off the top of his head. I had the water department go down there and they said 120,000. Yeah, just to fill it up for initial, and then it keeps going and they keep having to do it, and the city is paying for all that at a loss. So you got that. Here's the other thing I found out today, another spoke, another wrench thrown into it. They're getting ready to do the work on the water line down there. That's gonna happen over the next 4 months. So if we open that thing up, I don't know how long it's gonna be open before they come in there and shut it down and work on the water line. So we got that going on. So I tell you, in my opinion, I've worked in construction, done facility management. Every facility has a lifespan, cradle to grave. This one is in the grave, both feet, and the dirt's already up to my neck. I would like to go ahead and start getting money to build a new pool up there at the Wellness Center. It's gonna cost it. I mean, right now, if we can go ahead and put tens of thousands more dollars into this one, or we can take that money and start seeding. Now, the fiscal court don't have it, but guess who does? The health board. Guess who's the chair of that? Right now, we got $225,000 in there. Now, I can take that, and we probably estimated another $100,000 this fall. That would be good seed money to put in for grants. I can't use it on the splash park because it's recreational, it's not wellness. A pool is wellness. Because we're gonna do aerobic therapy with the hospital, we do all the other stuff, the exercise classes, and we can get that pool and put it in there and do it that way. Now, that's one solution. The other solution, if you guys wanna you want me to take money and put it in there to get that pool up and not even sure how long it's gonna operate this summer, we can do that. And I don't know when that water line's gonna get cut. I don't know how it's gonna be last, but that's going back, I think the year before last, it cost the last judge $45,000 to run that pool. Is what that, not right, Tommy? $45,000. That's just the operation. Now, Kiwanis, when they operated that, and everybody knows that outside government can be done better. They only, we went at 45 in the hole, but Kiwanis, when they operated back in the last time that Kiwanis did it, we only lost $820. We brought in 21,000, and we had 17 and something going out, and by the time it was done, we went $820 in the hole.
But there wasn't any income on this side.
And on this one, there's no income. Back then, we were charging, I think, $2 for locals, $3 for out of county. We were making money off the concessions. In fact, we made $4,666 off concessions. We made $754 at the gate. MCFC, we made $12,624 off that. The pool parties, we made $2,145. Swim lessons, $840. And the capital credit from the telephone company was $22.48. That's how Kiwanis was able to operate that successfully. Once we turned it back over to the county, it costed the county $45,000. But at that point, there was no income coming in. It's hard to maintain that stuff. The county is not here to make money, but we have to at least try to break even and be good custodians of the taxpayers' money. So I think we really need to look at this and look for a long-term plan rather than more short-term solutions.
Are you thinking, I know it was mentioned before, at the wellness center, it's supposed to be an indoor.
Mhm.
Is that what you're thinking?
I'm thinking, well, what I'd like to go, I'd like to start out with that, because right now Montgomery County's doing one. It's costing them $2 million for an indoor swimming pool. There's another county I talked to Gateway Ed. They're doing all this through Gateway. Gateway writes our grants and does all that for us. They're working with another county. An outdoor pool is costing them about $1 million. I think that we're closer, more feasibility to doing the outdoor one right now. But you can also, when you construct things, you can do constructions in phases. We could start out with an outdoor one up there and then move it along and make sure that when we build it, it's ready to go for the next phase to an indoor. Just like that building was, the pool was part of a phased construction of the wellness center. It's also got tennis courts that's supposed to be building up there. Indoor tennis courts. Excuse me, Robin?
But instead, we got a parking lot.
Oh, boy, you had to remind me of that.
Jim, may I add just a little bit?
Yeah, I like Danny. Danny, I'm gonna turn the floor. Danny is a Kiwanian. Danny has spent his life down there at that pool, doing a lot of work. Danny, would you please come up to the podium, to the microphone?
Bills for all that time that I'm.
Yeah, we ain't taking your bill, man. I talked to Brandon earlier. He said no. And I agree with him.
I don't know if I can maneuver this thing.
Is it on?
The green light's on. Is that?
All right, you're on. You're good.
All right. First of all, I want to compliment this council, fiscal court. You all doing a great job, in my opinion, and I watch you on television, and I really agree with most of the decisions, if not all the decisions you've made, and especially how you work together, how you discuss things, and how you make the county aware of what you're doing, and that means a lot to me. Anything I want to say here is just my opinion about this pool thing. Sometime in my age, and when I get excited about something, I go on too long, and Jim knows that.
I gave him 10 minutes.
No,
I've
I
dealt
stopped
with this
my,
man
I
too
stopped
long,
my
I know.
watch. And I'm sorry, but I'll probably do that.
Start the clock.
I don't think there's anybody in this county that wants to turn this pool on any more than I do.
Mhm.
But there's a lot of problems, and you found some of them. The time frame. When we had our committee, we started in March.
Mhm.
We did our hiring, we did our planning, we got together in Jennifer's office, and we had done the same things all the committee members did for years and years and years, and what are we going to change, and how can we improve, and what shouldn't we do, and it took all that time. And you're already 2 or 3 months late. You haven't hired any kids. There's one kid for sure that wants to come, and we communicate with these children. I call them children. And I know there's some more that will come back and help us. But you know what you're doing, you're asking these kids, yeah, we may be able to have the pool, we may not, we may find some things, and you know, they want commitment because they may have other summer jobs. And the hardest problem you've got, you haven't even mentioned, and that's the technical support. It's one thing to get this thing running again. See, we had several people that had worked down there. This is kind of like a home pool, but it's kind of a whole lot different too. And you got to know what you're doing because you're working with kids' lives, and you need somebody even when you go ahead and build this other pool who is trained for that. You've got a person who is as good as anybody in this state as far as the concession stand and supervising the lifeguards and keeping order down there. I mean, it's great to see those kids work, but it's totally different when you go in that room and all that equipment and all that responsibility, and you don't have that. You barely had it when you had 3 or 4 of us working down there. I didn't miss a day, and I'm not doing this for myself, but I didn't hardly miss a day of going down there 7 days a week, either early in the morning or late at night, sometime. You don't have anybody to do that. And to me, that is the biggest problem you got. And if I could make a suggestion, I mean, I'm going to agree with Jim that like I said, anything you all decide, I'm behind 100%, and I'll work behind it. But I don't think you ought to open that pool this year. But I think you need a big overall plan. I love what you're doing with a piecemeal effect of going up there and doing the splash pad, and maybe you got room, maybe you can't park. You need a big plan. This pool was built in the 50s. I learned to swim there before any of you all were born. And the last 30 years I've worked pretty hard down there. So it was the pride of the county for a long time. I mean, nobody around here had a pool like we had a pool, and that's what I want you to build now. Build a water playground, what's the term I'm looking for, and incorporate your splash pad. Incorporate plenty of parking. Incorporate a little waiting pool for the kids. You don't have to have a big swimming pool. Our pool is at least twice as big as it needs to. You need a little 5-foot section for people to swim in, and you need maybe a 3-foot section for people who who can't swim, and then you need a little foot or two for the little toddlers off the side, and then you need your splash pad, and then you need a place for the old folks like me to sit under the shade and watch these kids. You need a whole big water park. You really do. And find you a place, like when we designed the county designed the thing over on Liberty Road. We had 20 acres. And look what we did. You had a place for all these fields and all this parking and a horse park, and it's a wonderful place. Even down on Long Branch, we had a plan before we even acquired and built as much as we did across the road. And by the way, that was land and water management money too. And you're all right, that's federal money administrated by the state. And that's what built a lot of that down there, and it's a wonderful source of revenue. But, get you a place big enough where you can put everything in it and have something that people are proud of 50 years from now, just as much as we've been proud of what we got 50 years. Does that make any sense at all? I mean, I love the idea of, Jim, please don't get me wrong. I love the idea of going up there and building a part of it. But in my mind, you need a place where you can have something that's not only the best thing in Morgan County, but it's the best thing in Round County or anywhere. And have a big water park that all these kids can come to, maybe a place that old people can come to, and just have a community place that people can get together and enjoy themselves. And I know about indoor pools, and I know a lot of people want those, and I know who vote too. But this needs to be for kids. And you're all really good at that, just to talk about this. I mean, a lot of people talk about it. Nobody does anything about it. We need more things for our kids to do. But you're all doing something about it. And build all of this with kids in mind, and put something in there for everything. And then you've got a little money to start with. I don't know where these, I don't understand about being at the bottom of all this. You all understand that. But find some money to start with and get you an architect that can lay out a totally big park for you, and then you'll have people 50 years from now talking about that like I'm talking about what we had 50 years ago. And I'm sorry if I got too excited, but I really am excited about this, and I believe we can do it together. That's how you get things done. You have to have a plan. You have to plan your work, and you have to work your plan. And anyway, I've talked too long, Jim, and I apologize, but
You got one more minute.
I hope this makes sense, and I just want to see you do it to where when you're all not even on this anymore, you'll be so proud. I mean, I did very little over there at Liberty Road, but I'm so proud of everything that we did, and we did it with a big plan. Down here on the creek, I didn't finish my story there, but before we started improving that 25 years ago, we had a plan. It's 6/10 of a mile long down there on the creek, and all that didn't just happen. We had a plan, and we built for 20 years. We built on that plan, and everything you see down there is on that plan. You used to have a picture of it in here in one of your meeting rooms, and I can bring you a picture and show you. But anyway, I have talked too long, and I appreciate everything you're all.
Time's up.
All right.
I know. Danny, I just want to say we appreciate your service to Morgan County. You've been there for the Morgan County and the youth of Morgan County for.
A lot of other people have.
I know there's all the whole Kiwanis team, Rotary, the Civic Clubs, the Women's Club. We got so many people dedicated to the youth in this county, and but you're standing here representing all of them right now and talking for what we need for the future. And I agree with you 100%. We need a big plan, and we need to move forward with that way. No, we need a big plan. We need a big picture plan from a 100,000 foot level. How I'd like to proceed with this, I talked to Gateway Ad today. I'd like to hold a public information hearing. And where we come together and we bring the citizens and open it up to them, bring Gateway in here, bring in the engineers and all that, and start talking about what's feasible, and what the cost is gonna be estimated and all that, and look at this from the 100,000-foot level before we jump off the cliff, so to speak.
I think that sounds better than throwing money in a losing hole down there. Get
Yeah,
some kind of a plan.
it's a money pit, but I myself, I don't mind because it's the youth, but it's getting to a point right now, we gotta make a decision. Danny's worked down there, I've worked down there, Carter Boland's been down there, all the Kiwanians, over the years, all the judges, it's been Stanley Franklin back there when he was in, he was working that down there. He's the one that called me up and asked me if Kiwanis would take it back over. And, we did, but it's getting to a point where we gotta make a decision. Are we gonna stay with the past, or we're gonna move forward here and try something new and bring something else in here for all the youth and adults? I mean, that'll help the seniors too. The seniors would love to have a place where they can go. And putting it up there right next door where our pool supervisor is, so she can just step out of the bowling alley into that, would make it a lot easier on her too, as well.
What Leroy said there a minute ago, and what Danny hit it nail on the head, what he was thinking, but if there was a way that we could, and I know what you just said about that area, if there was a way that we could move that splash pad down, incorporate it next to the parking lot,
They won't let us, already ask.
have it all in one area.
Believe me, that was the first thing I asked.
That'd be great to have it with the pool.
Yeah.
Yeah, it would
Right
be.
there.
I use all my time up, but
Go ahead, throw it at us.
don't give up on that.
Oh.
I mean, you gotta
Yeah.
strike on the iron side,
Yeah.
I know, but
Yeah.
try to incorporate all these things in one place.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, our wellness center is there. If we can get that pool in there and start out with it and do hit phase construction, maybe start on the tennis courts. I was even talking to Tommy and some others today about if we could blacktop that road out to the soccer field, get that blacktopped. To me, that's what should have been blacktopped, not that parking lot. I don't know what that was
Why
about.
that was.
Let's not even go there. None of us have a decision in that, but we're living with it. But if we could blacktop that road out there, put up some, those exercise stations and stuff like that people go along. We could put trails up there along that hill. We could turn that whole little holler into a really beautiful place for Morgan County. And put it all in one place. I'd rather dream big and pursue that than getting stuck, staying in the past. Any more discussion on that? Thoughts? Leroy, you got anything to say? Any thoughts on it?
If you can't move it, you can't move it.
I know, believe me, that's the first thing I asked, can I move this? Because I did not like where it was sitting that period. Brandon? Any thoughts?
I think the time to be bold is now. Let's try to do something.
Well, I love that. Eric?
I think that the $11,000, they hit the nail on the head with their labor. I went a little rogue today and looked at some pumps and.
Think they did good?
Well, the pump's about 7,000, but.
That's what I was thinking too.
With
when
their
I first
labor.
started. That's what I was expecting, 7. But they had the labor in it and all that, so that kind of breaks it out.
Yeah.
But that's not gonna, that's the start of the fix.
Right, and you got the time for the pump to be shipped, you've got the chemicals, you've got, in the water correct, you've got any leaks, you've got everything. You're pushing second week of July at least.
Yeah, and it closes in August.
And Danny, again, hit the nail on the head. We
He did.
should have started this early if we were gonna do it, and we didn't. So
No.
it lays on us.
Yeah. And there was, we did start back in March. I was looking at this in March. But at that time, we really didn't know what our finances were.
We had no clue.
We had no clue what we was coming into. So I don't know, the buck stops with us, and I accept that. But we all ran into a situation where everybody here was kept in the dark about stuff, and we didn't know things.
We've got an opportunity to make up for it.
We do.
So I say we got an opportunity to do something good.
So I know it's disappointing.
Yeah, it is. That breaks my heart because, like Danny, I used to go down there with him, and he showed me around that pool and told me the history about it, and it's a great history, and it's been a great facility, but I think we've come to a point where we need to move on to something better for Morgan County, the youth, the seniors, and everybody, every citizen.
We could build something and put back in its place.
Yeah.
We need a senior citizens activity park.
Yeah, actually, we were talking to Gateway Ed about that too. They were looking, I talked to them when I first came in, and these projects take up to 3 years. I talked to Gateway about a new senior center, taking them out of the health department and creating their own senior center. So that's something we're working on. I've got them started on that. We're going to turn that over to the city though. I talked to Kyle, and they're going to work that project from that end through Gateway. I also talked to them about a new ambulance building because that theirs getting ready to, and so they're looking for grant money for that. So we got a lot of things going on. Parks and Rec, we really got to get a handle on that here pretty soon because, in fact, me and Tommy's getting ready to go up to Moorhead to talk to their judge and talk to their Parks and Rec and see how they're set up and see about getting a director and going from there so we can get all these parks and pull all this stuff together under the county cognizance of it under a director.
Yeah, the Park and Rec director in Brown County runs the football league, the baseball, they do it all.
And that's where I'd like to see that go.
He schedules games, he does it all.
Yep.
Pretty good.
I think that'd be a whole lot better organized than the way we're doing it now. And plus, it takes care of the facilities. A Little League field is a facility, and it needs to be maintained just as much as this one does. And that's another thing, facilities. All our facilities are falling apart. They have not been maintained over the years. And so that's another thing we're going to have to address through a facility manager maybe somewhere down the road. And me and Eric's talked about that before months ago.
Yep.
But that's going to come up. It's going to bite us in the butt if we don't. But right now we're dealing with this. The next thing we'll just have to deal with it as it comes up, a piece at a time, and hopefully find the money for it. So, any more questions on or discussion on the pool splash park? All right, so let me go ahead and proceed with that and talk to powers that be, and we'll get that public hearing started. All right?
Sounds good.
All right.
Like that over, you want to make that in a motion so it's on record?
Yeah, if you can just give me, that you got the court agrees with following this and going with it.
I'll make a motion on the splash pad and pool.
Well, just the pool, we already got a motion on the splash pad.
Okay, on the pool to
Proceed with the public hearing.
pursue public hearing and try for something better.
All right. Get a second? We have a motion on the floor, properly second, to proceed, that allow the judge executive and staff to proceed with a public hearing, setting up a public hearing, and looking at other options for a new pool, and along those lines. Is that a good wording? All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Solid waste compactor. Wolf County is interested in that solid waste, that old compactor we got down there. We're not using it, and the judge over there would like to come over and take a look at it. I'd just like to go ahead and start it off right now and get approval. If he wants it, we can turn that over to him. It's just sitting down there. Now, we could take it and scrap it and get the money out of it, but if Wolf County thinks that they can use it, we can. I don't see any reason why we couldn't give it to them and let them do as they wish with it. Any thoughts on that?
Be kind of good to get it out of the way if we get a small dumpster up there to set it back in its place.
Because that thing's just in our way there, and we need all the room we can get down there.
Have you got that memo in your stuff there?
That's and gentlemen and ladies, that's something else we really need to look at. That place is a hazard down there. I mean, we've already had a truck go over, we've had an elderly gentleman fall into an empty one, and That's something else. I've already asked for money once, got turned down because of they needed the infrastructure money for the south, for all the flooding. So I'm still pursuing money on that too, try to get, at least so we can at least do something simple as getting the safety, stuff put in there so people don't fall in anymore.
This memo that I sent out to each of you, details the kind of information that we have to consider, as per KRS 67.0802. And so if this is what you decide to do, Linda, we'll just kind of have Randy put that in the minutes.
Okay. I'll attach that to the notes.
And the KRS does provide for transferring personal property with or without compensation to another government agency. We would just have to draw up an agreement, between the two counties.
That's for the
compactor.
For the compactor,
Yeah.
Do we need any action tonight to
Yeah, I mean, if that's what they want to do, we need
yeah,
to
make a
vote
motion on it?
You gonna wait till Brandon comes back?
Yeah, wait till Brandon comes back. Until he gets back, you want to go ahead and discuss the trucks?
Well, I'd rather he'd be here.
All right. Oh, yeah, we see him.
Let me have the one on the trucks too. I gave it to you a while ago. It should be in here. It's gonna have a colored page tied to it.
Remember that in the package.
Is that it? What's that one out there? That one is sticking out.
There he is.
What's that other one out there? The one that says memo on it out there.
That's the
budget.
That's the budget.
Yeah, I can probably wing it. I think
We was discussing the solid waste compactor.
Solid.
And Tommy's talking about the paperwork, we need to do that, and we just want the,
well, in that material, that memo kind of lays out the things that we have to consider that would make part of the minutes if that's what y'all choose to do.
yeah, if you choose to do that and want to hand it over to Wolf County, then we'll need a motion to go ahead and proceed with that. Roads Department got any comment on that? Roads Department got anything to comment on that?
I'd say Terry's just, make sure that he don't have to be the one to unhook her, right? And haul it.
Right, hey, if Wolf wants it, they can come over and get it and take it out. Terry, go down there and watch them. He'll even take a mature down there.
Right here, yes. Yeah,
You just keep that on. I'll borrow this one.
that was at the bottom.
Transfer it to them, and just transfer it to them, personal property, or in the military, we call it a property transfer, I don't know what the.
We kinda need to get rid of it anyway, so if we
We
get
need
that
to
other
get that thing out of our
dumpster,
way so
have
we
a
can
place to
do
put
other
it.
stuff down there. Yeah,
Well, y'all this morning, I don't.
yeah. You know,
Yeah, I'll make a motion that we transfer this, the waste compactor to Wolf County.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second, to transfer the waste compactor at the transfer station to Wolf County. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. All right, approval to advertise bids.
This is for fiscal year 23-24 for rock, asphalt, and pipe. This is customary that we each year advertise for these procurement for these items, and just a matter of you all approving the advertisement, and we will have that ready to go in the paper for a couple of weeks, and they can be opened at the next meeting.
I'll make a motion to advertise for the rock, asphalt, and pipe.
I'll second.
We have a motion on the floor. It's been properly second to approve advertising bids for fiscal year 2023-24 rock, asphalt, and pipe. Any other questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry. Motion carries. Dump trucks.
Okay, you recall back in March, we talked about trucks, and actually you approved to buy 2 trucks. Well, there's been an issue, and the issue is that the tandem Mack truck, they just can't get them. And so what they have come back with is a Kenworth truck, a similar sized truck, still staying with the Mack single axle truck. Now what the gentleman from Worldwide is proposing is this, and actually the Kenworth truck is a little less money than the Mack as well. With the single axle truck, he's suggesting a 3-year financing, principal and interest arrangement through CAECO, which we've already talked to CAECO about all this. In this scenario, if we choose to go this route with them, we would need to buy an extended warranty for $1,852 that covers the engine, after treatment system, and transmission on that small truck. And at the end of 3 years, if we choose to, and if we buy that warranty, Worldwide Equipment will guarantee us a 50% trade-in value on that truck. If we want to trade, we don't have to.
That's pretty good.
If we don't trade, we would still have 2 years extended warranty left on the truck. But that's a pretty good deal, seems to me like. Now, on the tandem truck, on the Kenworth, the way this works on the Kenworth, we will do a 1-year interest-only deal with CAECO. At the end of 1 year, the JM Wood Company, and we've done this before with garbage trucks, you're all probably familiar with this, they will guarantee an 80% buyback on that truck at the end of a year. I've talked to Lonnie Campbell at CAECO, and he's told me that sometimes these things bring 100% and even more. And the reason this works the way it does, and the reason it can work, and it don't work for the small trucks, with a tandem truck, remember we're buying this in the government market. We're selling it in the commercial market. But if you were buying this truck in the commercial market to start with, in Kentucky, with the federal excise tax and the state tax, you'd be paying 18% above the price of that truck. Well, because it's being bought in the government market, they don't have to pay that tax. So that makes the numbers work for this, to be able to take this truck in a year, put it on the secondary market, because they're highly sought after. There's a big demand for them because trucks are hard to get, as we know. So they'll guarantee at least an 80% buyback. In the worst case scenario, it would cost us 20%, which is probably not even going to even cost that. I had a call from Scott Picar this afternoon, just about 5 o'clock. He's saying that he thinks he can deliver the small truck in October, and that he can deliver the Kenworth, he thinks, in December. So that's what he told me this afternoon. So even considering the extended warranty on the small truck, we're over $4,000 less money for this deal than we was for the 2 Macks. So, if this is what you want to do, we will follow up with Scott and let him know. And you know, it's a pretty good deal. I mean, you can have a new big truck every year and a new little truck every 3 years, if that's what you choose to do.
Any action on that, or is that just?
They would need, there's two things if you want to do this. First of all, you would need to rescind the motion you made on March the 30th about the other trucks. You would need to rescind that motion. And then if you want to do this, you need to make a motion for this one. Because we don't need two separate motions in effect. We need one of them, if that's what you want to do, to go away.
So we need a motion to rescind the March 30th
The March 30th
motion.
motion on the, and I've got it right here if you want to look at it. Somewhere. I did have. I just added it on one of them with it. I was just looking at it a few minutes ago.
Tommy.
Oh, here it is, right here, I'm sorry.
Tommy stole
The
it.
motion was made by Tommy Fannin and seconded by Eric Pelfrey to purchase single axle Mack truck for $131,999 and a tandem axle Mack truck for $185,724 from Worldwide Equipment for the Morgan County Road Department through Keiko Leasing. That was a motion and everybody voted yay. So that's what you need to rescind.
I guess I'll make the motion to rescind that motion, March 30th.
I'll second.
That's great, coming from the side of the room.
That's right. We'll keep it straight.
We might as well take it back.
That's right.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly seconded, to rescind the March 30th motion to purchase a single axle Mack truck. Any more questions or discussion?
And a tandem axle.
And a tandem axle truck. Any more discussion or questions? There being none, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Now this is, again, this is the same single axle Mack truck, $133,851, which includes the extended warranty, okay? And 2024 Kenworth T480, $179,630. First one's a 3-year deal, second one's a 1-year interest-only deal.
You're waiting on that side of the room.
I'll make the motion to purchase the Kenworth and the Mack.
I'll second it.
Look at that. All right, we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly seconded to purchase the Kenworth
And the Mack.
and the Mack.
And I'll give you the particulars for the minutes, Linda.
Any questions or discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
And just one other, I think I may have sent you an email about this. We're closing on the equipment next week, Wednesday. And I've talked to Chad at CAT, informed him, and so hopefully sometime next week, the CAT equipment will be delivered.
You all right, boys? You happy? All right,
Start cleaning ditches now.
you gonna start cleaning ditches?
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. All right, next up, well, state roads, I don't have all the information on the road me right now, but I've been going to the meetings at Gateway and over at the district, and we're gonna be getting the majority of the money in our little 3-county area is gonna be coming to Morgan County. And I think I told Brandon about some of it. He's got a road out in his district that's gonna be getting fixed. We're also gonna be 3036 is gonna be getting redone, some stuff. I want to thank Judge Stiltner at when we was at the Gateway Ad meeting for giving up his part of something he was having done for Morgan County, and so now we're gonna get, work done from the 519 meets over to the other side of Wrigley Hill. We're gonna work on that. Also had a study commissioned for 460 West, from out through White Oak out to the McDonald line, east, out through that. So, and there's more. So we're getting ready to get quite a bit of state stuff done. And District 10, they're really working with us, and we got George Williams over in Easel who's working hard with us on that. And so that's just a quick update. I'll have more for you at the next meeting. Advisory boards, I'm getting ready to create 2 advisory boards. One at the animal shelter. I'm gonna put, I got Vicki Stacy, Deborah Keller, and Laura Howard. That's gonna be on that, advise us and so we can start moving forward with that. I'd also like to get the Wellness Center Advisory Board back in place again and get that going. I've already got 3 people on, I got the team. I don't have the names in front of me, but I know Greg Motley's one of them. And, and we're gonna get that going again. And get them going and getting us some more ideas about what else we can do with the Wellness Center, so we're not working in a vacuum. So that's just a quick update on that. Now, Tommy, you got vendor claims?
Yeah, there's 3 different vendor claim reports in your materials. One of them is payroll since the last meeting, which is $62,205.72. And the other is claims that have been paid since the last meeting, totaling $414,149.26. We would need to vote to ratify those, please. Both of those. And then there is the vendor claims to be paid on a separate report, totaling $173,345.55. So we need action on those as well.
the bills.
I'll
We
second.
need- We need two motions. We need one to ratify the one that's already been paid, and another one to pay the rest of them.
Pay the rest of them.
I'll make a motion to ratify the bills that's already been paid.
Second.
There a motion on the floor, it's been properly second, to ratify paying the bills that have already been paid. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
I'll make a motion, we pay the bills to be paid.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second to pay the bills that still need to be paid. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Gentlemen, we need one more motion to end.
I'll make a motion, we adjourn.
I think we just set a record. Nope. We have a motion on the floor, it's been properly second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Motion passes. An hour and a half, that's pretty good for us.